Well, Halloween's fun, even if we don't really believe all these superstitions. But all the same, remember my refrain. If you get a scary call from a ghost that's short or tall, remember that I warned you of creatures that yell, boo! Ghosts and ghouls and witches are beings that cause twitches. And Halloween's the day on which they have their way.
Just what you are.
Welcome to the Cinematic Void Podcast. Cinematic Void is a cult film series that hosts screenings in the Los Angeles area as well as virtually. I'm your host, Jim Branscombe, and joining me as always is...
Hello, my friends. Hey, what's up? It's Nick Vance. Hey, what's up? It's I'm glad that's where you're at. I'm glad. Hey, it's Nick. Hey, it's Nick Vance. Paranoid Futures on Cinematic Void.
Cinematic Void? Is that what it says? Mm-mm. No, your shit's already, you got this on off the dome, man.
Hey, it's Nick Vance. Paranoid Futures on social media. You can find Cinematic Void on the World Wide Web at cinematicvoid.com, as well as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and all major podcast platforms. If you want to support the Void, consider joining our Patreon. Right on. Hey, we're back, dude.
We're back. We were doing pretty good with the schedule, and then, it finally caught up to us.
Hell yeah.
We ended up missing a week. We actually watched the movie that we were supposed to watch, but at the end of it, we were like, dog, I can't fucking do it.
I can't talk about this right now.
No, man, I had a fucking sinus infection.
Yeah.
It was rough, but yeah, we're back on the saddle, so to speak, and we should mention this is the last day in the OG studio. We're closing it down.
That's right.
So this is a celebratory, I believe is
we're
the
drunk.
word.
He's saying we're drunk.
Yes, we're drunk. We've had 2 fucking blue moons and we're fucking hammered.
Okay, we're not that drunk, but we still can't say anything.
No, and I didn't bring a water with me, so I'm gonna be all cotton mouth and shit. But anyway, so how you been? You been
good, man? Busy. I've been everything, man. I found my record's not coming out till January, so that's sick. I've been in the Egyptian all week. That's fucking sick. It's fucking beautiful. They announced that it's coming back. It opens up November 9th. And fuck yeah, dude, it's fucking rad. The old Netflix Egyptian.
Did they put the Netflix letters on top of it?
There's like a big spinning red N on the top of the building.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I made that up.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I remember it said Grauman's Egyptian. Is Grauman's gone?
Yeah, it still says Grauman's.
Okay.
The only difference aside from the palm trees being gone is that the Egyptian sign that was out front on actual Hollywood Boulevard, it's actually just Netflix red now instead of blue, but it's repainted and it's actually just really nice.
Yeah, I mean, you've been in there, you've looked around, you've been in that booth and stuff, and
yeah, man.
I mean, when the photos popped up online, like a lot of people were stoked, but then I need to question some of you cinephiles who can't tell when a fucking screen has masking used.
Everybody's complaining about the screen being small, dude. The screen is fucking massive. It was just the masking, but you've seen the films before. You surely know that, right?
No, apparently not. But we're busting.
You're the day that I've become a fucking know-it-all about film.
Well, you are.
Let's go.
Well, I'm going to say you know more than a lot of people now because you actually have projected it.
Right on. But yeah, man, place is beautiful. It's awesome, man. We finished up Beyond Fest. I don't think we talked about that last time, but
no.
I projected that last day with fucking Nick Cage.
Sick.
Coming through the booth in his fucking goofy-ass leather outfit. Jesus Christ, what was that fucking dude wearing? He's wearing a fucking leather jacket that said Thrash, Destroy Power. I guess they were like, I don't even know if they were patches. They were like fake patches. And one was maybe like a middle finger or something, just a real dumbass outfit.
Yeah, but Cage is cool.
For sure. But I'll say when he went out and got on stage, he was cool as fuck.
Yeah.
He was cool as fuck. Like he can turn it on. And like the audience fucking ate it up. I mean, like he was great, dude. Really.
Yeah. Wish I was there, but I only showed up for 2 Beyond Fest screenings. Actually, I showed up for 1. Well, I showed up for 2 others, but I wasn't there to watch. I was there just to hang out. But There was actually, I'm lying now, I was there for 3, one of which was not an event. There was 2 void events, which if you've listened to the podcast, you know we did Michele Suave's The Church and Cemetery Man. Cemetery Man was sold out, and what a fucking screening.
Hell yeah.
It was fantastic watching it down the Aero Theater. There's 7 films. I got to, tip my hat. Is that a term we still use, tip my hat?
I'll allow it.
Okay.
Hat tip. I think we'll go with hat tip instead.
Hat tip, yeah.
HT.
Yeah, that fucking restoration's absolutely fucking incredible. And it was beautiful to watch the audience, like a lot of whom hadn't seen the movie, just get into it and kind of lock into it. There was some laughing because, it's an Italian horror movie and people kind of predisposed sometimes to laugh at it. But like once they caught into the fucking wavelength, it was fucking fantastic. People laughing where they're supposed to be laughing, people gasping where they're supposed to be gasping. When Anna Fulci and Rupert Everett had their sex scene, quiet.
Horny.
What?
Horny.
Well, the theater went silent. Maybe there was like a collective erection rising in the room or something like that. But like, I mean, damn, it's like that whole restoration's amazing. So be on the lookout for when Severin drops that probably in the new year. I don't want to give it official because I don't know, but like it's obviously coming along with The Church. And, they also announced Opera, which is another Dario Argento's opera. So lots of things coming out. The Church screening was really good too. That was a lot of fun.
I projected that.
Yeah, you projected both shows the night because I ended up.
Wicker Man.
Yeah, yep. I helped introduce Wicker Man.
Yeah, you did, dude. That photo was amazing.
Yeah, it was Lord Summerisle handing down steelbooks in the aisle, or whatever fucking dumb thing was the fucking catchphrase for that.
Was it? It was a Wicker Man steelbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Those things look nice. I saw one floating
I have
in the
one.
office. Cool.
So
I probably saw it on your desk.
it wasn't my desk. I took it home. It
Snagged it.
Yeah, I mean, that was my reward for dressing up like an absolute fucking idiot. But
True.
like, so I went to go buy a wig and I couldn't find a normal like kind of big hair wig. All I could find was like
It's like Don King.
No, it wasn't even Don King. Christian from Beyond Office looked at me. He's like, "You look like fucking King Buzzo or some
Hell
shit."
yeah.
And I was looking when I saw the photo.
Don King Buzzo.
Yeah. By looking at the photos, like completely fuck. Anyway, but that was fun, and the Church was a blast to watch with a crowd. Just did American Werewolf in London this past Monday, sold out crowd. I hadn't seen it. I've never seen it projected on 35.
Hell yeah.
So it was a real treat to watch. It was the good Universal print.
Cool.
Next week,
You should do an encore of that so I can make it to the next one.
I don't control the encore, son.
Yeah.
But they should have because it did sell out.
Yeah.
And right about this time as we're recording, Creepshow is pretty much sold out. So
Tight.
yeah. And yeah, what else we gone to? We went to a show.
We went to a show. We could talk about it.
We can talk about it. Yeah,
I'm not
We don't-
gatekeeping this week.
we
I'm feeling open this week.
We don't have the fucking band name embargo last time.
Yeah, we went to see Teenage Wrist and Heavenward at the Lodge Room, and Spiritual Cramp also played.
Yeah, there's an opening band, but I don't.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we're at Burger Lords, which is, I mean, they're real burgers and vegan burgers and stuff like that, but they're fucking damn good. And
good.
I didn't realize Burger Lords was like pretty much you could walk out a door and you could like go into the lodge room.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the lodge room once before. I saw Jonah Ray, friend of the Void from Mystery Science Theater, did his Weird Al show there. So that's where.
Oh, tight.
That's my new favorite venue in LA.
I love that room. That room is sick.
I like going to Highland Park. It's better than downtown.
Mm-hmm.
That venue is sick. Old Masonic Temple.
Yep.
There's some other shows coming up. I think what is it, Millie playing there? And
Oh yeah. And the Beths just played there like 3 days. I'm really sad that I missed that.
yeah,
We saw Teenage Wrist and Heavenward. Heavenward were amazing.
mm-hmm.
I think that was their second show. And yeah, they're great. Their new LP, is it Pyrophonic?
Yes.
It's fucking great. It's definitely one of the best records this year. Same with the new Teenage Wrist record, of course. And yeah, they blew me away, man. They played their first show at my record store years. God, that must have been 8 years ago at this point, 7, 8 years ago. Yeah, they've come a long way, man. I thought they were fucking incredible.
Oh yeah, they smoked.
Mm-hmm.
Like Spiritual Cramp is it Spiritual Cramp? What is it?
Was it Spiritual Cramp or did I?
Spiritual.
It is Spiritual Cramp. Okay.
Okay, but there's been a couple times that I thought it was, and then I second guessed and started making up other band names when I went to go like fucking like
Yeah.
because I dug dug a few of the songs they played. It's like, yeah, I want to check them out. And then like I kept on making up new names for the band.
Yeah.
So I couldn't find it, and eventually I had to go look up the fucking show we were at to figure out what their band name was.
Totally.
So sick shit. So anything else been going on? It's been up and down. We've been in spooky season now.
Getting real spooky.
Yeah.
Have you been? I don't think I haven't really had. I've just been busy, man. I haven't been watching any. I've just watched Persona.
Yeah.
You know, like I haven't watched shit else.
Wow.
But how about you? You been getting down?
Yeah, a little bit here and there. I mean, I'm getting ready to go to the East Coast, which is why we're doing a spooktacular episode where we're doing a 2-for-1. Maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Persona, the close out of spooky season. And some of you might be like, why are you talking about Persona? Is it an art house movie? Yes, but it's also a great horror movie. It's basically a genre-defying and defining masterwork. We're also going to be talking about what's coming up in November, because guess what? Halloween never ends. That is the series I'm running with because I'm doing some lazy-ass programming. And I was hoping to do these as separate episodes, but ran into a problem with one of the films and it's still not booked, and I'm probably gonna have to change it out. But we'll talk about that when we get there. So why don't we just turn down the lights, light some candles, put out your jack-o'-lantern, because we're about to get spooky here on the Cinematic Void Podcast.
My Halloween pumpkin is finished. Now to light it. What candles have ruined my other creations?
Try the pumpkin light. It's around my neck, your mad Dr. Ship.
The pumpkin light is perfect to light my Halloween pumpkin. I'll place it inside. You can make your Halloween pumpkin safe and scary with the pumpkin light. Oh!
Available at Genevieve's, Woolworth, Walbaum's, Walgreen, Millwhite's Food Town, and Lambston.
Halloween pumpkin can be a lot of fun for grown-ups.
Hey, kids, isn't this fun?
But with a pumpkin cutter, children of all ages can easily design and carve their own Halloween pumpkins in complete safety. The pumpkin cutter is simple and safe to use. There are no sharp edges, yet it quickly cuts through all pumpkins smoothly. Any child can learn to use the pumpkin cutter the very first time. Make this Halloween extra special with the pumpkin cutter.
Available at Genevieve's, Woolworth, Toys R Us, King's, Dan Supreme, and Drug World.
It's positively frightening.
The Country Fair Flea Market's Halloween sale is this Sunday, October 29th, with free cider, donuts, and candy. Over 100 exhibitors and Frankenstein. That's right, Frankenstein. The Country Fair Flea Market, located on Mound Road at M59 in Shelby Township. Free admission and plenty of free parking. For more information, call 254-7110.
Come to a Halloween sale going on now.
Welcome back. It is spooky season here on the Cinematic Void Podcast. So spooky that we're just pushing things into November. So we're going to be talking about the November lineup. Normally we do a more in-depth episode, but because of, timing and life and all kinds of shit, we're just going to fire these off. So
Says you. We're going to talk about this shit for a long time. This is a November coming fire right here. Let's go.
All right, Glenn. Glenn Danzig here, everyone. November coming fire.
Yeah, you can't see us, but I'm over here rubbing Jim's shoulders and just trying to encourage him to talk more about these films.
All right, fine. I will talk about these films.
I'm kidding. I don't want to talk about fucking Halloween 1 and 2.
Well, now that you've said that, all right, man, you
can delete it.
Nah, why not? We're going off the cuff in this one. This is 2 beers. This was 2 drink minimum for tonight's podcast, or today's podcast. It's night for us. You might be listening in the morning like Nikolai does. What time does Nikolai listen to these episodes?
He works like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I don't know, dude.
So he must be like first responder on these. Like gets the fucking notification he's on it.
Hell yeah.
So shout out to Nikolai. Anyway, coming in November, it's series called Halloween Never Ends, because I didn't know what to do, and I was like, I'm just going to keep showing Halloween or horror-centric movies. I'm basically just riding this out till January Giallo, and I'm just going in cruise control because I got a message today about something big for January Giallo. That's the tease. And if it doesn't happen, it was just a tease. It didn't really happen.
It's more Halloween sequels.
Yeah, just if the tease doesn't happen, I'm just going to do more Halloween screenings in January, so... No, it'll be January Giallo, no matter what. But anyway, November 6th, first Monday in November. I like how I'm saying November twice. We are keeping it spooky with the Rob Zombie Halloween from 2007.
You can't go in there. That's the devil's house.
Oh no, Tommy. Boogeyman's gonna get me.
This summer,
Is the boogeyman real?
the legend you thought you knew, I'm gonna cut that mask right off your face, has been reborn. More terrifying than you could ever imagine.
Death has come to your little town.
Halloween, rated R.
A movie that I saw in the theater originally with Bruce Holochek and did not like. I really did not like it. And before I decided to screen these, I sat down and rewatched them because they were on Tubi. And they're like leaving today. And it's like, oh shit, I gotta watch both of these like back to back.
Oh shit.
Surprisingly, I did not dislike the Halloween as much as I did in the theater when I originally saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I think the back half of it's really good. I still don't like the Michael Myers origin story.
Okay.
That's just my main conceit. Like I feel like it's just not needed. And I understand Rob Zombie's got a Rob Zombie, and that's what that is. But I'm gonna be interested to see with a crowd.
Right on.
Like, because when Bruce and I saw it, there was like 4 people in the fucking theater back in 2007. Did I say 2007 earlier or 2009? It don't matter. Because anyway, on the 13th of November, we are going to be showing Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which is from 2009.
Michael
Myers. I know he's not gonna come back just because of some stupid holiday. Are you a giant?
On August 28th,
Call 911. There's blood everywhere.
Rob Zombie completes his extreme vision
Happy Halloween. How do you like 2 bullets?
of a terrifying legend.
What do you want from me?
Halloween 2. This film's not yet rated.
Which, after not liking the first one originally, Bruce somehow convinced me to go see part 2 in a theater.
Interesting.
Well, it was between that and I think I think it was the House on Sorority Row remake or Prom Night. It was one of those 2 remakes, and the reason why I didn't want to go to the other one because DeHaven and I had just gone seen it, and I knew if I told Bruce that I had seen it without him, he would get mad. So I'm confessing to something from like fucking 20 years ago now or whatever. Maybe not 20. It was like 2009. It's 14 years now. Yeah. Sorry, Bruce. I saw the other movies, so that's why we saw Halloween 2. However, I'll say this: I enjoyed Halloween 2 when I saw it in the theater. And rewatching it kind of reaffirmed it. I think it's one of his best movies.
Okay.
I think he does some really, really terrific character work in it. Visually, it's stunning. It's shot on Super 16, so it looks really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it's his best film because I know someone's like, oh. I think it's one of his better efforts. And I think this is one of the movies where I think the visuals and the storytelling and all that kind of lock together and just works. And I should mention both Halloween and Halloween 2 are going to be on 35mm. One of the prints is coming out of Florida.
Right on. So you think Halloween 2 is his best movie?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, yeah. I will go on. I want to like Lords of Salem, but like I feel like it starts out so good, and then just like I think budget caught up to it, so like I feel like the ending just doesn't land for me. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of good stuff in that, and
okay.
I gotta confess I haven't seen any of the ones that came out after that.
Does it take place in Salem? Like it's a Salem-centric film?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did actually a location video for it when I was in Salem.
Oh, cool.
I did with Hocus Pocus because that's how I screened them.
Very nice.
Back in, what year was it? 2017, 18? I can't remember when that was. I did Hocus Pocus and Lords of Salem as a double feature. But yeah, I'm actually really excited to watch Halloween 2 on the big screen again because like rewatching it, I was like, yeah, I think this really works, and I think with the receptive crowd, it might land really, really big. And when I posted it that I was doing these 2 movies, people got like pretty stoked.
Hell yeah. I don't remember much about them. I just remember them being kind of like ultra violent.
Oh, they very much are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, to quote Lemmy from Motorhead, overkill going on in both of them. But I think one, it's a bit much, only because like there's so many iconic like horror character actors in it that die brutal deaths. Mm-hmm. Like, and it just feels like, is that what this movie is? Or are you just killing like people's like favorite horror icons in very, very violent manner? 2 doesn't feel that way.
Okay.
So I don't know. I like 2 a lot. Now on the 20th of November, Kay Lynch from Salem Horror Fest will be back in town, and she guest programmed a movie that I remember begging my dad to go see when I was a kid. and then having a very awkward moment. Actually, I think there's a couple awkward moments when Keanu Reeves and the three vampiresses are like seducing him, and they're nude and stuff. It's like, when did this movie come out? 92. I was 12 watching this with my dad in a movie theater. We're
Just
like
popping boners, dude.
All
bricked up.
All bricked up. It's just like it's like that Cemetery Man screening all over again. I mean, I was 12. I don't think I knew what a boner was yet. So anyway, but yeah, we're showing Bram Stoker's Dracula, directed by Francis Ford.
Bram Stoker's Dracula, a Francis Ford Coppola film, rated R, at theaters Friday the 13th of November.
I haven't seen this movie in forever, and I remember the visuals are great. It's kind of like a Rob Zombie movie, I think, in some way. Like, great visuals, storytelling. I mean, it's an adaptation of the book. I just remember some of the performances didn't quite land. Even as a kid, I recognize. I know there's some Keanu Reeves apologists. I think Keanu Reeves is a fine actor. I think he's miscast in it.
Yeah.
I would like to be proven wrong on this screening. I also think Anthony Hopkins, after he won the Oscar for Silence of the Lambs, decided to do what a lot of Oscar winners do. They think they just hamming it up will lead him to another Oscar. And he goes fucking full ham as Van Helsing in this movie. I even think Winona Ryder is a little off in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think like the most important thing that has to work is that fucking Dracula is amazing, and that's Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman fucking just... He's like Michael Jordan in this movie. He's throwing three-pointers. He's fucking dunking. He's running defense. He's carrying the movie.
I think the star of the show is the fucking costumes and the sets. Dude.
Yeah.
It's a fucking crazy-looking movie.
Yeah, I mean, same costume designer did The Cell, which Kay picked when she was here last time. Cool. So I guess that might be the correlation to it. I wish we could have got a 35mm print from it, but like the distributor is like DCP. And
yeah, or do you know if this is kind of floating around? Is it accessible if you could get the rights to screen a print of it?
There's probably a print, and I'm sure the studio that has it has a print, but it's just
who is the actual studio?
It's Sony.
Sony, okay.
So I mean, if they make a
shout out my guy Jeff over at Sony Lot.
Yeah, I made him pull out some weird stuff. I made him do Private Resort and Meatballs too, so maybe it's okay I didn't get the Dracula 35.
Yeah,
I think
win some, lose some.
Yeah. So speaking of that, that's not even a transition. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. 2 beer minimum tonight.
Speaking of lose some.
Yeah, speaking of lose some, anyway. So on the 25th of November, I'm back at the Frida once again. This is my bi-monthly residency. They're doing a New York theme series for the month, so I'm doing John Carpenter's Escape from New York.
Cool.
If he climbs over the wall, they'll blow him off. If he tries to fly over the river, they'll shoot him down. If he comes back alone, they'll explode his brain. New York, 1997. One man has 24 hours to break in and break out before it's too late for escape. John Carpenter's Escape from New York. Rated R.
Persons under 17 not admitted without parent or guardian now playing.
Last time I screened this was 2018 at the Arrow. It was a Get Out of New York triple feature. I did it with the Warriors in 1990, the Bronx Warrior. Had Dean Cundy out when I did it originally. Everything was 35mm, so I'm kind of excited to watch Escape from New York with a crowd down at Frida. Frida's a good genre crowd, so
hell yeah.
So that is going to be at the Frida. Then to hop on the Monday, which is the 27th, don't know what I'm showing yet. So there's 2 movies I've been trying to play 2 Octobers in a row, and for whatever the right reason, the rights holders will not get back to us. They're just taking forever or seem confused, even though I've seen other people book these movies. I don't know what is going on or what it is. It's just how it is. So right now, the movie I want to play on the 27th, I'm not sure going to be playing, so it's probably going to be something else. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. Sorry, I know this is supposed to be the November lineup thing, but I don't want to speculate on what may or may not happen, because even the backup I have might not be available, and it might be something different. Yeah, so this is another movie that I've tried to play multiple times this year. I've already played it once. I played it back in 2016 during the first year of Cinematic Void. I played it in Beyond Fest on a double feature with Street Trash. Doing Neon Maniacs.
You're telling me that these things are inside the Golden Gate Bridge. 1. 2, that they only come out at night. That they're responsible for the death of 15 or more kids and 3 of my police officers.
Let me ruin your evening, the stranger said to me. Your new lover, my old
They're young.
lover.
Come on, Sue, it's play. They think they're going to live forever.
What she told me. What are you doing?
Never want to play with us. He wants to fool around. But they're in for a terrible surprise. Now, there are 12 new reasons
Over here!
to be afraid of the dark.
They're after me.
And every one of them is a killer. Introducing, in diabolical order, Axe, Hangman, Doc, Biker, Slash, Juice, Samurai, Mohawk, Archer, Soldier. These are the Neon Maniacs. They live so others may die. Neon Maniacs.
And I'm really excited to do it because Steven Scarlatta, who did the Sharksploitation documentary, Jodorowsky's Dune, and stuff like that, like, he's a huge Neon Maniacs fan, and he's working on some related project, and he involved me with it, and we talked about we should do a screening because I just want an excuse to show Neon Maniacs. So I tried to show Neon Maniacs for the Cinematic Void 7-year marathon. Couldn't get the print. I wanted to do this in October. Where the print is, like, they have a limit on how many rentals or how many print loans they do a month. They were maxed out for October and November. The first one they had available was December, and they only had one. So that's why Neon Maniacs is playing December 4th. And the cool thing is, we should have some of the people that played the actual Maniacs, the Neon Maniacs themselves, showing up to the screening and talking about it. Because if you know the backstory of this movie, it's fucking wild. Like, it got shut down one point, restarted. There's, like, definitely some recasting, whatever. It's a really interesting thing. And hoping to unlock some of these mysteries, because it's a movie where a lot of people haven't talked about it. So, and I love this movie. This is one of my favorite 80s horror movies, and plus, Baby Lied.
Baby Lied, dude.
Baby Lied's a fucking banger and a half. Banger, banger, banger.
Is that shit on fucking Apple Music or what?
No, I had to fucking rip it off YouTube and put it on my iPhone so I could have a copy of it.
Nice.
It's a fucking sick fucking jam.
Yeah, send that joint to me.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. Anyway, that is the November plus December lineup for the most part, outside of the 27th. Keep your eyes peeled for that. But we're going to take a quick commercial break here. But when we return, we're going to be getting arty and spooky here on the Cinematic Void Podcast.
Halloween shopping doesn't have to be a nightmare. Come to Partyland and save. 7 locations with prices so low, it's scary.
Okay, Harry, grab the bud, and I think we're out of here.
Right.
I want to drink your bud.
Hi, I'm Harry.
So am I.
Well, there you are.
You are not going to believe this.
This Halloween, replenish your Bud supply. Pick up Budweiser, Bud Light, and Bud Dry.
What's your bud type?
Would you like to find the love you deserve? Is success in your future? Now you can find the answers and connect with someone so gifted, you'll feel good just talking with them. Call the live one-on-one psychic connection for your private reading anytime.
Call toll-free 1-800-526-2323. Must be over 18.
Don't face your future alone. Call now.
All right, Jim. We open with the start of the striking of a lamp house.
Oh God, no,
arc lamp.
Fuck, no, God, no. I knew you took notes, but I'm looking. You have like 10 pages of fucking handwritten notes on what we're about to talk about.
That's true.
Anyway, welcome back to the Cinematic Void podcast. This is our spooktacular episode, I guess, because we're just. I mean, is it really spooky? We're just talking about a lot of fucking Halloween shit and horror and a movie that. I don't know. It's not, yeah, again, there we go. We are now on beer number 3 because Nick's is like, I can't do this without the third beer. So we are on beer number 3. We've actually haven't drank beer during a podcast in a long time. I couldn't even tell you last episode.
I'm not big on it, on drinking.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the early. Well, I mean, I feel like the early days we kind of needed to make through the episode because we were like, and then we just like switched to just the coffee and water. But
yeah,
I don't know, man, just getting loose here.
It's been a fun night.
Yeah, it's been a fun. I like that we're getting loose for the fucking Persona, which is what we're going to be talking about here. If you haven't seen Persona, we will get spoilerly, but if you haven't seen it, this might be a good way to get you to go see it. So. Also, you can't really spoil this movie, I don't think.
There's a Criterion Blu-ray. It's on the Criterion channel.
It's on Canopy.
I'll give you my password.
Yeah. You just want people to see it. So anyway, we are talking about Persona from 1966. It's directed by Ingmar Bergman, one of the legendary filmmakers. Obviously, his best-known movie is like, Seventh Seal, because it got parodied in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but he's influential just all around. Like, he's a fucking goat. The film stars B.B. Anderson, who is in a couple other Bergman bangers. We already mentioned Seventh Seal. She was also in Wild Strawberries. Liv Ullmann, who is in Hour of the Wolf, Cries and Whispers, that kind of stuff. It was written and directed by Bergman. The DP on the film is Sven Nykvist, who worked a lot with Bergman. Who were you just mentioning? Your boy, Tarkovsky.
Tarkovsky.
Yeah, but he also worked for Polanski on The Tenant, Louis Malle for Pretty Baby, Philip Kaufman for The Unbearable Lightness of Being, and somehow even did Sleepless in Seattle.
Okay.
Had a hell of a career. For those of you who haven't seen the movie, which might be, I don't know, I think this one, it's going to be 50-50 split. There's going to be the people that do have Criterion art house leanings have seen it, and then the people who, like horror movies and shit may or may not have. So I don't know, but for those you haven't, and for those you have, in case you need a recap, because sometimes you watch this movie and you're like, what the fuck is it about? Well, this is what it's about on the very, very surface level. A nurse is put in charge of a mute actress and finds that their personas are melding together. Ooh. See? Spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah, spooky.
It's fair. Maybe.
Bergman isn't well known in horror circles, but he's made enough adjacent horror stuff. I mean, Seventh Seal, it's about, death.
Yeah.
Like a literal figure of death. So that's kind of a horror element.
Hour of the Wolf definitely feels like a horror film.
Oh, Hour of the Wolf. I think that's the most overt
of
his filmography. I mentioned The Virgin Spring. Not that it's really a horror movie, but it was the direct inspiration for Wes Craven's Last House on the Left. Like complete plot points and all.
Very cool.
Maybe it doesn't have Krug and company in it exactly like that, but basic premise.
We did Cries and Whispers for Bleak Week this year, and I ran it, but then I also watched it at home. Actually, the day I ran it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just slowly getting into Bergman. I saw Wild Strawberries recently, but yeah, I'm not too deep in yet. But this I fucking love.
Yeah, because we talked about watching it, and you went and bought the Blu-ray, and then you watched it, and you're like,
four times.
Well, I mean, when you first watch it, you're like, I think this is my top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. The first time I saw it, I went, this is easily in my top 5 films of all time. And that's I know that's crazy to say, but like,
sometimes when the movie hits,
yeah, man, it's like you ever finish watching a movie and you go like, that was made for me.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen often, but when it happens, that's a great feeling. Or it's like, this is something that I'm gonna take with me for the rest of my life, and I'm going to watch it fucking over and over, much like Three Colors Blue or something like that. It's just, this is with me now. So throw it in the fucking backpack.
I mean, in some ways, Three Colors Blue is kind of a descendant in this movie.
Yeah,
in some ways,
definitely Double Life of Veronique.
100% on that one.
Yeah.
So before we get too far into her now, unless I just want to mention a couple other things. Like, basically, Persona is like the backbone to a lot of movies. Like, Robert Altman, Three Women.
I think that's what got me here was watching Three Women.
Yeah. I think you watched Three Women, and I think I might have said you should watch Persona.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you still need to rewatch Images from when we did
Cool.
Giallo Jason, because it's definitely in there. David Lynch, huge fan. You can see
Mulholland Drive.
Yeah, Mulholland Drive. Kayla Giudice's book, House of Psychotic Women, like, this is definitely one of the backbone movies. Obviously that, and Polanski's Repulsion, which came out the year before this. Those are the big two that I feel like have been cannibalized by many a filmmaker. But I think Persona is like, it's a whole other fucking thing. Before we get into impressions, that kind of stuff, I do want to mention this crazy thing that just happened to come up while we were talking about recording this. So let me bring up the article here. I'm not going to read it verbatim, but so basically, this was from a Deadline headline. Gothenburg Film Festival produced and debut an AI-altered version of Ingmar Bergman's Persona. In a move that many people describe as provocative, the Gothenburg Film Festival has set Ingmar Bergman's landmark art house drama Persona for an AI-assisted restoration. The Swedish festival has teamed up with SF Studios, Gothenburg Film Studios, and the Ingmar Bergman Foundation to produce an AI-generated version of Persona with Liv Ullmann replaced by Alma Pulski from Fallen Leaves. My understanding is once they screen the film, it never screens again. What I think they're doing is basically they're asking questions about AI and basically diving deep into what the movie is about by doing this.
Sure.
So Liv is actually going to be there to watch this with the other actress that basically replaced her in the movie.
Cool.
So,
right. And BB's not alive anymore, right?
No.
Yeah.
I think that's why it was Liv that was replaced, because they could get the permission. And like the Bergman, the people who control his estate signed off on.
Wow.
So, I mean, I think it's just like, it's a deeper discussion because there's a lot of AI talk in the film industry and all that. And while I get that they're doing this as an artistic, experiment and just see how it plays and then have a big discussion about it, I am a little worried that this kind of shit opens the door.
I'm a little worried that everyone goes, that was fucking awesome. Let's do it a bunch more.
I mean, that.
But I mean, that's clearly not going to happen. I mean, no one likes or wants this sort of thing. I mean, really, right? Like,
no.
Like I don't think that anybody is happy about the likelihood of this coming down the pipeline, because it fucking is.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason why the writers and actors were striking was because of this potential. Like, obviously, like what the studios were looking at was to cut out like background actors and just basically, scan someone and then just have them on file and just never pay them again.
I think I saw something about like maybe Robin Williams. I mean, fucking
no. Someone did an AI fucking thing of Robin Williams and they sent it to his daughter and she was like, "This is fucking awful. Stop."
Yeah. Delete. This is kind of similar to Crispin Glover, Back to the Future 2, when they basically used likeness and they created, like, everyone thought that was actually Crispin Glover still playing Marty McFly's dad in Back to the Future 2, when it wasn't him at all. It was either like some other guy in makeup to look like him or something like that, and they basically passed it off as him, and he sued the shit out of him, and
no, he won.
Yeah,
he won, and but I think it definitely changed his trajectory in Hollywood.
Yeah, probably so.
I mean,
he was always how he even pulled off being in that mainstream of a film is kind of crazy, but I mean, he's always been out there. He's sick.
Crispin,
the sickest.
Crispin is his own man, and he just walks to his own beat.
Yeah,
sort of like how he walks in those Charlie Angels movies.
But it's the same sort of concept, just fucking 40 years before the technology was available. You know?
I mean, that's a good point. I'm surprised no one has brought that up during this whole strike, was that thing, because that was just like, oh, you want more money? Well, we'll just replace you and make the other actor look like you.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's been other shit. Like I know I haven't seen it and I don't want to see it, but there's definitely been one of those Star Wars movies. I think it was Rogue One, where like they had an actor who played the Peter Cushing character from the original Star Wars in it, and they fucking superimposed Peter Cushing's face on that actor. And not only that, but his estate signed off on it.
Wild.
So, and I feel like this is going to be like commercials where it's like Marilyn Monroe is now selling you like fucking rosé or some shit, or like, you know, I feel like this opens the Pandora's box in a really, really bad way. But you know, I understand why they're doing for this particular movie, because it's about melding of identities and switching identities and shit like that.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at your 10 pages of notes. I don't know if it's actually 10 pages, but
it's at least 5.
It's at least 5. So
it's fine. I'm right here. I'm fucking locked in.
All right.
I don't need these goddamn notes.
All right. So for the first time ever in a Cinematic Void podcast, Nick is going to out-talk me. So.
Oh, that's true. I don't know if that's true. But anyway, we open with a...
You are sorry. God damn it.
We open with an arc lamp. A striking of an arc lamp to let us know that we are, in fact, watching a film. But no regular film, that is.
No. God. How long you been waiting to fucking do this?
I don't know, man. Oh, dude.
Well, I'm going to ask you this. When you first watched it, what was it about it that just fucking, like...
Well, I
took you over.
I mean, you know, I just love I love their struggle with identity. I love, you know, I mean, yeah, let's fucking get into it, dude. She, you know, so Liev plays Elizabeth Vogler. She's an actress, and during one of her stage plays, she just had this like realization that you know, she can no longer like fake this to the world. You know what I mean? Like, you know, her entire identity is actually just like being this famous actress, right? And like, she doesn't have an identity of her own, and she's decided to like close herself off from the world at like in the middle of a stage play. She's just gone silent, right? And then she checks into this hospital where BB, or Sister Alma, is taking care of her. And Sister Alma, like from the get, like, dude, like a big part of why this really appeals to me so much is because I actually relate to both of them so much. I, you know, and maybe that is like just the common thing, right? Is like, you know, part of me goes, like, you know, to quickly get into like the kind of like ambiguity of some of it is like, some of it makes me go like, are they just the same person the whole time, right? Like, I'm not saying like, oh, it was just one person on the island or fucking whatever. It's fucking, you know, it's not some like Shutter Island bullshit. Oh, he was fucking locked up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but they're not like literally, it's not literally just one person on the island or one person in the hospital or something like that. That's not necessarily what I'm suggesting, right? But like, but you know, it's kind of the film. I mean, it's a film, and it's abstract, and it's, you know, so it's like, you know, it's showing these two sides, but like it's kind of the same person, right? I don't know. That's I mean, that's my read on it. But you know, don't worry, I still have a billion more things to say about it. I don't know, man. I relate so much to, like, you know, I'm not an actor or something. Is, you know, when I fucking saw Nicolas Cage, I don't know, my fucking read on Nicolas Cage is like, he's not a real person anymore, dude. He's just an actor that like can turn himself into like whatever you need him to be at any given time. He's just some dude in some dumbass leather fucking and you know, but he gets on stage and he's just like, he's fucking Nick Cage, man, and it's fucking great. But like, when he gets off stage, he's not Nick Cage.
Well, I've actually heard,
that's fine.
I've heard about this, and I've actually interacted with people that like, they have such a persona when they're on stage or the camera's on and all
persona
that.
Persona means mask, by the way.
Well,
in Swedish.
In Swedish, okay.
But anyway,
what I'm saying is like, well, it is a mask. Like, yeah, I've met plenty of people like, and like, who you watch them do a Q&A or they introduce a movie or that kind of stuff, and then the second they're off stage, they become they're not them anymore. They're like fine. Kind of a shell.
I mean, you know, to some degree, we all do it when we need to, right? Like, I'm not like this unless we're just like hanging out, really. But like, you know, when the mic's on, it's different, right? And like, when you get up on stage to do Cinematic Void, it's different.
Oh,
you're a different person. You're putting on the mask.
Well, yeah, well, exactly. And that's what, like, even on my low level of fucking celebrity or whatever it is, like, it's just, and I don't think it always was that way, but there's definitely become a distinction between the Cinematic Void Jim and the Jim that just like sits at home.
I mean, sometimes that could just be what gets you onto the stage, right? Like, sometimes you have to just have that other thing to turn on to really, plus it's, you know, you're entertaining, when you're just sitting around, you're not trying to entertain. Period. You're just doing your thing, right? But like you have to turn up the volume on your own personality or whatever that is, right?
But I think what happens is that you start developing a bigger gap between like your who you project and who you actually are. And I find it like, this is a projection,
I mean, I say it like Nicolas Cage is an asshole or something. I don't necessarily even mean that. It's just something that probably just naturally occurs over time with that level of celebrity, right?
Well, I think it's just like when you put out that much energy, like it probably takes a lot to power up.
Yeah, it takes a lot out of you.
And I've seen other actors do the same thing. It's like, I think it's also your temperament, like because like if you're setting to perform, you're probably on like a very low energy, and then you have to ramp it up and like, make sure you can go because you don't want the battery dying when you're actually needed.
Well, I mean, also like think of like a lot of performers, right? You think of like musicians or something. I think it's a great example. That like just because you can write and even perform a really great song doesn't mean you're good in an interview. And like the same could be said for a fucking director, for an actor, whatever, right? Like just because you're a great filmmaker doesn't mean that translates to like a great conversation with someone.
Yeah.
You're probably not great at conversation. That's what makes you a great filmmaker.
Well, I mean, you got to think of certain filmmakers that stopped doing press, like Stanley Kubrick, like stopped doing like, I mean, he did it pretty early on. Like I think of Dr. Strangelove because, it's funny to think that Peter Sellers, one of the greatest comedic, actors, personalities, like didn't really like to do press.
Okay.
And George C. Scott, who was also in Dr. Strangelove, didn't like to do press.
Yeah.
And Stanley Kubrick didn't like to do it. So you know who did all the press for Dr. Strangelove? Slim Pickens.
Sweet. And
that's not a knock on any of those people, but like Slim, because the way that Slim's a character actor, he's like, oh shoot, I'm just like fucking
hand it up.
Well, he's just a Texas fucking cowboy dude.
Cool.
And it's like every time you see Slim, you see him in Blazing Saddles, you see him in The Howling. It's just fucking Slim Pickens.
Hell yeah.
It's sort of like, it's kind of like Slim is kind of more the mold of like classic actor. When you think of like Humphrey Bogart, just Humphrey Bogart. Cary Grant is only Cary Grant. Slim Pickens can only be Slim Pickens. But if you get into like people that are like, I don't want to say more complex, but like, or method or whatever, but like people that like their persona or their identity is basically just, it's Charles Bronson's another example. Charles Bronson can only be fucking Charles Bronson,
right?
Just like John Wayne can only be John Wayne. And when he tried to do something different, like play Genghis Khan in The fucking Conqueror, talk about a fucking shit show of a performance.
Right on.
But we're getting way off of fucking persona.
So check it out. Fucking flip the coin. We've got Sister Alma. Sister Alma, they so they're at the hospital, and I don't know what you call her, like it's not a school, but like the kind of the headmaster, the person that's kind of in charge of the hospital or whatever. What's it?
Maybe like a doctor or administrator or something like that.
Right. So she goes to Elizabeth, and she says, I don't think the hospital is the best place for you anymore. I think that you should go to my vacation house on this island, and you and Sister Alma should just go there and just hang out and just enjoy the weather and fucking but actually more importantly though, so she comes and says that, but then she actually like really and much to Bergman's credit, like a lot of this film, like the dialogue is as much as this film is like this abstract art film, right? Like he uses a lot of exposition to like really explain what's going on and then lead you to the next thing where you like don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? But he holds your hand, and it in a really like great way, right? So she's like, I really think you should go to this fucking island. But then she's like, you think I don't understand the hopeless dream of being? She just like drops that shit on her. She's like, you think I don't understand what you're doing here? You don't think I don't get it? Like, we fucking get it, dog. Like, get your shit together.
Yeah.
And so she sends him to the island. And it's just really fucking profound. It's just like, look, dude, we like, I get it, man. Like, we all fucking get it. We all get it, man. Like, we're all human here, and like, we see what you're doing, and like, it's fine, but like, get over your fucking self.
I mean, that's one way to put it. You're talking about that, but like that opening to Persona, where it's like, obviously.
We didn't go like a little more in depth in the arc lamp.
The arc lamp, like the kind of weird montage of it, like
it's like 7 minutes long of like really abstract filmmaking. It's fucking crazy actually. And so I tried to watch this on the Criterion Channel like a couple years ago when I first got it, and I knew this was an important film. I threw it on and was within those first 7 minutes. I went, "What the fuck is this? Is it?" I just went like, "Is this what the whole thing is? I can't fucking watch this." And now I'll just go watch those first 7 minutes by itself and be like, oh.
It's amazing.
Fucking coming over here. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
How far you've come. I mean, I didn't mean to say it like that, but like
God damn it.
how far have you, change in your world from fucking like who knows, like you're watching Grandma's Boy and now you're like
I love Grandma's Boy.
I'm not saying you still don't, but like I'm just trying to pick the polar opposite of where you go from like fucking from that to fucking like from Freddy Got Fingered and Grandma's Boy to fucking Tarkovsky and Bergman.
Dude, your bed is a car. Yeah, but it's a sweet fucking car though.
that would be, if that was in a Bergman movie,
imagine,
profound as fuck.
True.
But like that opening 7 minutes is like some of the wildest fucking stream of conscious like filmmaking ever. Like I think it was one of the first movies where, outside of like an adult film or a stag film, where like an actual fucking widely released art house movie that you see a erect penis in it.
Oh, right. It's in the, there's where it's because it shows film in the projector and they're kind of like, so it's like it's spliced in. It's the Fight Club joke, fucking
before there
40
was
years
Fight Club,
earlier. Yeah.
I mean, there's that, but like also you got to think Sweden had, besides art films and stuff, had a very long history of sexploitation movies and that kind of stuff. There's like
I did know that.
I'm Curious Yellow, I'm Curious Blue. I forget the name of the guy who directed, but like he was a Bergman disciple. But yeah.
Okay, I think there's a Criterion box of those.
There was at least on DVD. I don't know if
there's a sick poster hanging in Brain Dead actually of that. So to flip the coin to Sister Alma to BB here because we went big on Elizabeth already, but so you get to Alma and so they get to the island and it's almost as if and again I really fucking dude I really just relate to these women so much. It's fucking like part of why I love this so much is like. It's like it's just so like in me maybe like to a cringy fucking degree that like dude I live alone and like I love to just spend like all my time alone, but then when I get around my fucking like people that I fucking just punish the goddamn shit out of them. Like I've never fucking shut like sometimes I'm like there has to be people at work that are like you're so quiet, and then as soon as they get to know me they're just like Jesus fucking Christ, do you ever shut up?
So you're doing like long monologues.
I'm fucking Alma, dude. I'm Alma. It's fucking depressing.
I mean because we ended up watching. I think you watched the first 20 minutes without me, and then like I came over and we watched the rest of the movie, and like Alma's a fucking Punisher,
dude. She never shuts up, dude.
But there's a point to that, Punisher stuff. Like she's basically like she wears herself out and then makes herself very very vulnerable. So when you get to that story about her on the beach, with the other woman and
horny,
like what
horny.
It's not really horny in this one. It's like
the threesome on the beach isn't horny.
It's kind of depressing because of where it goes with it. It's kind of bleak if you really think about it.
Sure.
It's like her talking about like I guess she's married to what's his name, fucking what was it, Hans or something like that?
Well, fucking Greg,
yeah, fucking yeah, that's a Swedish name. Fucking no, Franz. It was like no, was it Franz or it sounded like it was Henrik. It was fucking Henrik.
It's definitely Henrik.
There we go. As we make up fucking multiple names here.
So we just go through the names of all the members of the Hives.
But anyway, like when she's talking about like how she loves her husband.
Who are opening up for the Foo Fighters.
What fucking decade is this?
I don't know, dude. I saw the ad on Vine Street. Anyway,
I'm trying now. I'm thinking about when I saw the Hives like in the 2000s.
I saw them at that free MTV2 show that they played at the Wrecker, and Jason Donalds was entirely naked, just crowd surfing the whole time on MTV2.
Man, I don't have that kind of content on MTV2 anymore.
Yeah,
but Anyway, back to the like that story is fucking kind of devastating because like it's sexually explicit in a way. Like I don't know like what the translation difference is, if it's like a little softer or harder than what she was saying. Like it's fairly graphic.
Yeah.
And like it reminds me, although this came out when this come out 66, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I think of Godard's Weekend, which has a scene where it involves another like a woman going a very sexually graphic like story. It's not, you don't see it, but she's telling it, which reminds me of this. And I think Weekend came out in 68, but I could be wrong. I'm pulling up things, but like this one, because it goes to like her like basically having the best orgasm of her life is what she's implying, and then having to have sex with her husband, lover.
But she also says that she goes home and
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And that it's the best. Yeah, right.
Yeah, because like I guess she had her
felt guilty,
and all that, and then like she's pregnant, but she doesn't know whose kid it is. Especially if you think in like 60s, I mean, probably Europe, like abortion was a little more like evenly handled than it was in America.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know for sure. Like someone can correct me on this, but like I think it wasn't as taboo as it was in America. She's like, I didn't want to have kids, but then there's a regret over it. And I don't know if it's a regret because she's giving up the kid.
Yeah.
Or is it because she's giving up the kid to the person she met on the beach?
Yeah, for sure.
And like it's like,
but all that shit is like, but ultimately it kind of culminates in like, she's Elizabeth has still not said fucking shit. She hasn't said shit, and so she's just blabbing, and then eventually, after a couple days and some drinks, and bonding. Yeah. But Sister Alma also like her bonding is. You're great. You've been listening to me.
Yeah.
She has an affinity towards Elizabeth, like not only because she's a great actress and she already knows, like let's not forget that, right?
Yeah.
Like that she's a very famous actress.
Yeah.
And Alma doesn't let on to it until like much later, but it's like I adore you, right?
Yeah.
But so she's told her at this point, her fucking deepest, darkest secrets.
Yeah.
And then, basically throws it back in her face. Because of it, because she feels like she hasn't been reciprocated. And then, much worse than that is the turn there.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the letter.
Right.
Well, there's a couple other things. I feel like she opens up because like Leave's character is like a blank canvas,
right?
And
but she's created a vacuum.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it's just like I feel like if you're constantly talking, it's kind of like. So it also reminds me about Fargo, the Steve Buscemi, Peter Stormare dynamic, because Stormare doesn't say shit, and Buscemi just fucking talks and doesn't fucking stop talking.
Right.
But it's a different. He's not, letting out his deep secrets. He's just fucking. Doesn't like the silence.
Right. But hey, man, if you give me a little, I'll shut up a little bit. You know what I mean? Come on.
And sort of. I mean, knowing the Coen brothers, that might have been their weird homage to Persona by doing it.
Right on. Okay.
Because like Stormare says like a couple words, and like Leave only says really a fragment of some words. But like the turn is like that fucking letter that she writes, where like she doesn't say shit, but then there's all the weird like is it dreams? Is it reality? Is it fantasy? Like,
right. There's the kind of a
the melding, the bonding, the like.
It's almost like a vampire sort of thing going on, where she like bites her arm or something, or not bites, but she like takes her nail and like opens up her arm.
That's a little bit later though. I'm talking about a little like where like there's scenes of like like Leave like walks in the room when BB's sleeping and stuff like it. It does feel like a weird like erotic vampire movie at times.
Yeah, it's creepy.
And just like
spooky even.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about it during spooky season. But like the turn is that letter where BB opens the letter that's supposed to go back to I guess her boss or whatever, or no, was it her agent or Leave's agent or something like that? I forget who the letter's going to.
I almost feel like it was. I always thought it was more of like a psychiatrist or something.
I think it was and basically fucking just talk shit on like
she basically says like this has been a great character study.
Yeah.
I've basically just been letting this woman fucking yap at me for days, and I'm just silently judging her. And so, you know, she's driving around and like doing errands, and I guess some of those errands are like taking that letter to the post office or whatever, right? So she ends up like opening it in the car.
Well, because it wasn't sealed.
It wasn't quite sealed, and that's kind of that's where this kind of goes dark. And she reads that, right? And then she goes back and doesn't confront her right away.
No. I mean, that bit where, like, you know, it's the unspoken, like, I'm fucking pissed at you moment. Like, having been in like a scenario like that where someone's mad at you and you don't quite know. And, like, the way Leave plays it, like, she's trying to go on, like, his business as usual, but BB's, like, not really hiding her
not
card.
having it, yeah.
But, the other thing is, like, the fucking broken glass bit. Where, like, you know, there's this tension there where you're just walking, like, and he finally steps on the fucking glass.
There's a lot. One of the things about this film, like I say, I've seen it like 4 times at this point, and you know, I have a clear vision of like certain beats of the film, but a lot of it does kind of like run together where I'm like, oh, was that before or after? Like, you know, did that, you know, I mean, I know that her like stepping on that glass happened after the letter and stuff like that, and she kind of left she didn't put the glass there on purpose, but she left the glass there on purpose. You know what I mean? You know, she broke it. I can't remember if she intentionally broke it or
no, she got mad.
I
think she threw the glass because she was angry, and then she cleaned it up because she wouldn't sweep it, but then she missed the spot, and she keeps like, do I pick it up? No.
I think that, you know, we think a lot about this film, about the kind of like parts where you go like, because, okay, so the things that we haven't dug into is like there's a scene, for instance, like when when Elizabeth's husband comes to visit her on the island, if that's even real.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Like, was he blind? I think he was blind, but I'm not entirely clear on that. And then he seems to like recognize Alma as his wife at the time, and then she pretends to be his wife, and then there's a whole, you know, there's even like a sex scene with that. It's really strange and like kind of unexplained how that is like, it's like maybe not even like the most important thing to me about this film, and like not even the most appealing thing about it is like, do they switch places? Like in this instance, right, like where the husband comes, they switch places because he can't see them and he mistakes her as her. Or like, I don't know, it's all very, it's very strangely done to like, I think it's not clear on purpose.
Oh, you
know,
the thing is like the intent of this movie is crystal clear. What you're seeing is what you're supposed to be seeing. This is it's a movie that's supposed to be challenging because there's things you're left up to interpret it. And I know there's people like who think, you know, it's sort of like, I feel like, you know, a lot of people think David Lynch is this way. I think David Lynch is pretty straight ahead. If you really think about it and you think about everything he's showing you and you pay attention to the clues, it's straight ahead. And I'm not saying that because he
walks a little crooked to get there, but it's mostly straight ahead, right?
Yeah, it's not traditional, and I think a lot of that comes out of this. Like, you know, it's like, is it? I don't think the guy's blind, and this is just my interpretation of it.
But like the way that they like take his glasses off, and he mistakens her for her, right?
I don't think he mistakens. I think it's a fantasy.
Okay.
Or it could be.
I hadn't considered that. That's cool.
Because like you got to think, fucking Elizabeth or Leave's character is like, you know, behind and watching the whole time.
Yeah, that's also super weird.
And because there's a lot of that, and it's like, are they just, you know, doppelganger kind of fucking shit?
Sure,
Speaking of fucking David Lynch, there's a lot of
little Pig Destroyer sample as well.
Yeah, it was a Pig Destroyer sample, so which is why I thought about it. But like, no, there's. That scene is strange because did the husband actually even show up? Was it a thought about it? Sure. Because like, or was it just like, was it BB's character, the nurse Alma, like fucking breaking down why Elizabeth was like that? Because it all plays out in that fucking scene where they play it twice. Where you talk about is like, you're like, yo, they're showing this shit twice, and I'm like, but it's from the different angles.
Why does this happen? Yeah, but what you pointed that out to me, that it's like the camera angle is different, but aside from that, it's the same kind of plot points. With a few different changes too.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
like the kid's photo is ripped up in one, and I believe it's together in the other.
Yeah,
right?
The first time they do it when it's on Leave, the photo's together. The second time when it goes on BB,
That's also something we haven't mentioned is like, you know, Elizabeth has a kid, and they mention that a couple times in the film, and I think that at least in the credits, they don't actually say it in the film, but in the credits, I think the young boy that's in those first 7 minutes that wakes up in the bed, and the famous like the hand reaching towards what looks like one of those two women, or maybe both of their photos, you know, superimposed on each other, right?
Yeah.
But I think that young boy is actually supposed to be Elizabeth's son.
Yeah.
But they don't ever explain that.
I mean, they don't.
Of course.
Of course, but you but I think because they don't really show him head on at all, so it's like
you kind of see the photo, right? But like you never see the photo. But there's that other part. There's another part where she's looking at a photo of a young boy
that's being like shot. It looks like it's from like either.
It looks like Nazi Germany or something, right? What the fuck is that shit?
It's like, did she send her kid off somewhere to get killed? Like, because that speech, which BB delivers twice, and it has different impacts because of the way, because when it's on Leave and you see Leave being devastated and like basically called out on being like, you think I'm a terrible person? Fuck you. This is why you're a terrible person.
Right.
And then when you cut back and you do it over again, you're on BB this time. And I think that's at one point where they do the superimpose, where like half the face is like Leaves and half is BB. And it's like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Because the way they do it, like, and this is pre-CGI and all. This is all optical in-camera shit.
Okay.
Like, it's fucking amazing.
How do you propose that they did that?
Double exposure, or like it's an overlay. Because like, you know, think about it. You remember the music video I did for you for it might have been the same kind of method. Like it's just a double exposure. And they just framed it perfectly. Because like when you first see it, you know something's off, but you can't tell what it's off. And then when that half face dissolves,
right,
it's just like, holy shit.
Yeah. I was wondering, I don't know how like editing and stuff was done back then. It's maybe a little too much of an aside, but like, you know, could you take like different film and like cut them up and put them together and then reproject it and then create like a new image? Like, is that how some things were done?
They would do opticals, which is like you would shoot one thing, and then if you did an overlay, you would do it at optical, and you would just burn in. Like it's like a dupe is what happens, which is why like when sometimes you see effect shots in the movie, they're a little bit darker or a little bit grainier. It's because there's layers on it.
Yeah, I truly don't understand how certain effects were done like back in the day.
I mean,
I want to do a little more research.
Like
on that.
sometimes when you do double exposures, you just expose it twice. Like you literally rewind in the camera the section where you want to shoot, and you shoot it again.
I don't know too much about like photography or.
I mean, you can do it in photography, you can do it in film. I never film school. Like I think one of the experiments was learning like the rewind the camera and do it like a double exposure and shit like that.
I never knew that's. You know, that's what double exposure actually means.
Double exposure means
you just run it back and then just shoot right on top of the same piece of film.
Yeah, and if you don't move the camera, you know,
sure,
and you know how, and you frame it right, you can have two separate things going on. Like
very sick.
Like if you think of something like Dead Ringers, like they had a motion camera where it would like repeat the same camera move, so they could have like, you know, Jeremy Irons on one side and then Jeremy Irons playing the other brother on the other side. Like that's movie magic. But you gotta think this is like mid 60s, so you have opticals, you have like, you know, you can do some editing, but like basically the way you do dissolves were opticals. Sometimes you could do in-camera fade to blacks. I remember Martin Scorsese when he did Last Temptation of Christ, they were doing all the fade to blacks in camera.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's plenty of things you can do in camera, but like you also got to think like anytime there's a double exposure or like an optical overlay and stuff like that.
You don't even know if it worked until you run the dailies tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know? Fuck, dude.
It might not work, but this is why cameramen are or I shouldn't say camera, but camera people, people who are director of photography, cinematographers, whatever you want to call them, they're a different breed than they are now because you have digital manipulation. Back then, you had to understand lighting and what you're doing because like, I need to be this many f-stops in order to do that. Like, it's like cinematography is light, but it's also understanding chemicals and labs.
Right on.
Because you can shoot something that's going to be like a couple f-stops, like a little higher, might be blown out, but you print it a little bit lower and it gives it a different look.
Okay.
There's all kinds of shit you can do. which we should also talk about the one shot, because the one thing, this is something you're talking about, like the shot where they cut and basically you see that it is a movie they're making.
Like you see the
camera. You
see a second camera there, yeah.
Well, no, you see the actual camera doing the move, but
Yeah.
something's filming it, and it's like,
right.
and
But
it's just
it's the camera's pointing at I think Elizabeth on the bed, like,
Yeah.
kind of hanging upside down. You know,
Mhm.
it's like a completely different part. This is true to the end of the film when it shows this.
Yeah.
And so like at the beginning it shows the lamp struck, and it shows the film in the projector, and then at the end it shows you kind of making the film here, and it's just a very single shot.
Yeah.
Of Leave, and it takes you out of it, but like with purpose.
Yeah, well,
you know?
you got to think of something like The Holy Mountain, which came out maybe like 7-8 years after this,
Okay.
where like, you know, where they break the fourth where they break the fourth wall and stuff like that. Like, but this is just like, because it doesn't happen at any other point in the movie, and there's more shit around it. Like, you know, at the end where BB's like putting away that fucking summer home, like
Yeah.
putting away the chairs and cleaning everything up, and it's just like, you know, you question yourself, you question the reality, you question if there was even two people, or was it like someone that was like isolated and going through all the fucking crazy shit in their head, and that's how they basically interrogating themselves.
Yeah. I'm jumping way back, but at the beginning of the movie, when she was in the hospital, there's a scene where she's watching the television, and it's showing those where the guys are like setting themselves on fire to protest Vietnam. I think it was, you know,
Yeah.
maybe even what they used for the Rage Against the Machine cover.
It was definitely one of those. Yeah.
I don't know. That shit was just really fucking affecting. Like, it's really like, I mean, the way that she's staring at the screen and like freaking out that she's seeing it, like it's powerful.
I mean, you know, we should talk about those performances, because like there's two different styles going on, and they're both incredible, and like that's fucking threading a goddamn needle. As a filmmaker, when you have one actress who only says like 2-3 words max and has to basically carry everything silently and through emotions and facial expressions, then you have another one that has the fucking burden of going through exposition.
Yeah, she gets every line in the film.
Yeah, but she gets some fucking hard line after hard line going on. To paraphrase Rage Against the Machine here, so we're keeping it all together here.
Right on.
But like, there is some fucking mean, devastating lines in there. And there's other. I also think of the shot where, like, you know, Leaves chasing BB on the beach, and it's that tracking shot, and like the camera gets further and further away from him, probably because, you know, the way the beach is and the dolly track. But there's just something about the way they do the space. They cut in a little bit close when they actually talk and just trying to stop her, and then like cuts back out to that wider thing.
I mean, that confrontation scene on the beach where she's wearing the fucking sunglasses.
Yeah,
and she what's the fucking line she says, like, you know, you'll never know how I feel. Some shit like that. Like, she says some fucking hard ass line.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, dude. Just wearing those sunglasses. Just fuck you.
I mean, there's a lot of fuck you in it.
Yeah.
I mean, the only time like Leave actually says she says a couple things. She whispers like, "Go to sleep" or "Go to bed."
That one thing, and we rewound it and watched it a couple times, like trying to figure out, like, did she say that? Are you sure? You know. And like, I'm pretty sure she did, you know, so that I'm pretty sure that was like the one other time in the film that she spoke. And then, aside from when her life and you know, health was threatened to be get like tossed, what was it, like fucking soup or something on her, or whatever? Like boiling water at least, you know.
Like it's a fucking crazy goddamn movie, and I mean that in the best way possible. Like, the last time I watched this in theater was during, I think, because it was the Bergman Centennial when he would have turned 100. And shout out to the homie Will Morris. He actually put together that whole Bergman series. He did all the pairings and that kind of stuff. And I think they did Persona as a Lucy. Actually, no, it might have been a double feature. I think I only went specifically to watch Persona. And after that was done watching in the theater, I was like, I don't need to watch any more Bergman for this series. And I do like Bergman. I respect the hell out of this filmmaker. He's made some amazing films. But like, once you watch Persona in a movie theater... This
is I mean, I like the other ones that I've seen a lot, but like, this is the one, and this is I don't know, it's definitely has a very different, it's a whole new beast. I mean, he knew that he had created something like, I mean, this is after Vertigo, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
There's a couple things that definitely went into influencing this. We talked about Three Women and Mulholland Drive and a few other things that are referenced when people talk about this. But like, there's Vertigo.
There's Repulsion.
Those were before it.
Yeah.
And not to say that this is a ripoff by any means. I mean, this is a very singular event, I think. Like, even though there are things that you can compare to it before and after, this is the jam, man. This is the one.
I mean, the thing is, it's like, there's some, traits that are in other Bergman films. He loves the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, not
I always feel like they always go to like an island.
They go to the island, like Hour of the Wolf, they definitely go to an island.
Right.
Or it's like, there's some coastal beach thing. It might, I don't know if it's always an island.
I mean, Seventh Seal, they're like playing chess on the beach.
Yeah. It's, he likes the beach.
I mean, is that just the landscape of Sweden? I've never been there.
I've never been to Sweden either, but like, because like
it's just a bunch of islands and beaches, dude.
When I think Sweden, I think of like Bathory and like
is that where Ghost is from?
Yeah, I think so. Are they Swedish?
Repugnant? Yeah, I think so.
They're Swedish. Yeah. I mean, there's like there's a history of like Swedish.
Dude, Star Market.
Oh, there you go.
Is the Star Market Fireside? I mean, dude.
I can think of a lot of the Swedish punk and Sweden. I mean, there's a lot of Swedish. There's like Skid System and like all that.
Oh yeah. Rich culture.
Rich culture of like punk music and really fucking amazing
90s indie rock.
And I was gonna say amazing and devastating art house and just great fucking films. I think Persona kind of became this thing because like we talked about a little bit when you first watch it. It's like you would think this would be a thing where like a lot of female directors would make something like that, and it's predominantly a lot of male filmmakers that
I instantly looked for lists of things that were kind of similar to this because of Three Women, and there was the one of the ones I found on the list, and I bought it and watched it. The Almodovar film, is it Talk to Her?
Yeah, that I think we talked about it on the podcast, didn't we?
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, that definitely didn't it definitely didn't, despite being about two women in a coma in a hospital and like, it didn't really scratch that same itch. It didn't really have like it was, I don't know, it's more just about that fucking fucked up guy. Yeah. It's not so much about like, personality switching or any of that shit. Like the two women being in a coma, I don't know, that never, none of that was really that important in that aspect.
I mean, I think what this movie taps into, and I think like maybe it doesn't feel the same for a male protagonist in some way. It doesn't really connect. Where like,
right. But
if this movie was like fucking Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro.
I mean, no. The reason this works is the reason this works for me in particular is because it's two women.
Yeah. And I think it's because it's, because you can see yourself in them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it's kind of why Three Women work. Like, I know there's a bunch of other characters, but like, when you got Sissy Spacek and fucking, Shelley Duvall, like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, I am curious though, like, I'm curious to other male members of our audience, like, how do you feel about this in particular, or like Mulholland Drive too, same thing, right? But it's just, I mean, again, if it was two male actors, I would feel completely different about this. But there's something about their femininity that draws me into it.
Well, the other thing you got to think about, like, David Lynch also made Lost Highway, which has a very famous, and I'm sorry, I'm spoiling this for maybe some of you, like, there's a character switch, and it's male.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's also Patricia Arquette plays, I think it's the same character, but it might be different, like one's a redhead, one's blonde, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's some of that going on, but like, it doesn't work the same as Mulholland Drive.
Right.
In a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And I think it's like, I'm going to be, sexist guy here, but I think some of it is the primitive, like, the interest of two, beautiful women and like maybe the hint
it's a part
of
right?
eroticism.
Like a part of it. Yeah. I mean, it's not so much that I think that they're going to, I'm like, oh, they're going to fucking make out,
No.
like Mulholland Drive.
Yeah. Well,
it's not that, but like, their beauty does appeal to me for sure.
No, I think, I think it's the hint of eroticism.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't feel like it's like teasing me or something. I'm hoping it occurs.
No.
You know?
It's not that. It's not the sexual anticipation.
Sure.
What I mean by the eroticism, there's something there. It's the way they pose each other.
Sure.
It's in like
right.
Because if you watch a lot, and I'm going to say this, you watch a lot of the erotic vampire films that came out in the late 60s and 70s, you will see summer persona in that. And it's more in the staging and all that kind of stuff. I'm using the word erotic. I think I need a better word, but I don't have one. So, but like, it's not titillating is what I'm getting at.
But there's also just like, but going back to like relating to them, you know, but they're very, despite being directed by a man, like they're very much like women. And I'm curious, like, do you think that they're well-written women characters?
I think so. I'm sure there's going to be someone that says no, they're not, or whatever, and like, could dissect it here. But like, these movies like this resonate with women a lot. Like House of Psychotic Women. Like this is one of the backbone movies of like Kayla Janice's incredible book. And obviously there's other movies in there that take different turns, and like it's just like I don't think it would work as two men, because I think you need the femininity to like kind of give you the space. And it's like there's something otherworldly about it. Yeah. And maybe that's what I'm thinking other than eroticism. Although there's like weird, like it's definitely ghostly, like, it's not longing. It's more like, I mean, maybe it's longing, but not a sexual kind of longing. It's a longing for like normalcy or understanding, and then not just understanding the other person, understanding oneself.
Yeah.
And especially when we get back to that fucking scene where we're breaking down, like, Lee's character, like having the kid and then fucking hating it and being resentful that she had the kid. And you don't get really clarity on what happened to the kid other than she just like didn't open up to it and wouldn't love.
Yeah.
And that's another core thing in the movie, because BB's character wants to be loved and leaves shut down.
Yeah. So like, as I said earlier, I mean, like, the motives of the motive of Elizabeth, right? In this situation in particular, it's kind of like because she's an actress, like I said, but it's still just a very human thing, right? Like, it's not just because she's an actress that she feels like she doesn't know who she is, or that she has to be silent. The whole silence thing isn't necessarily just because she's a famous actress. Like, it's relatable because, like, it's easily relatable because it's like, who the fuck am I, man? Like, period. Like, it's a very human thing, is like, who am I? And like, who am I? Like, how am I perceived? And like, I don't know, like there are people out there that like don't care about what other people think or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, those people exist, the people that you see that are just like fucking completely in their own goddamn world and like don't give a fuck about other people at all, and like are just the most selfish people. We all kind of question these things. I think like your normal person goes like, it is like always a little too in the fucking just worrying about shit. I know I am, man. Like, I don't know. I'd love to go through life not giving a fuck about what other people think, but like, it's just not a fucking reality, man.
No, it's actually hard to do that. Like, it's like you try to live your life the best you can, but then like you run into criticism, like, actors run into a lot, but even on our micro level, there's like, there's people that aren't going to like this podcast. There's people who aren't going to like things I screen. There's people that aren't going to like your band. And as much as like that shit shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
When you
were you fucking deaf?
Yeah. Like, well, not even that, but like there's two ways you can look at it. You can look at it as like, well, fuck this person because they're obviously wrong. And the other one is like, you start questioning yourself and like, am I wrong? Am I believing in something that is wrong? And there's some of that in this movie.
Yeah. But not even all so much like negative perception or something, but just perception at all, right? Or like even self-perception. It's just like, who am I? Day to day, who am I? Who am I becoming? Who did I used to be? Am I better now than I was?
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, the there's just such a disconnect between like maybe who you are and who you think you are, and then who other people think you are, and trying to like meet all of those things, and like try to, the struggle of like maybe trying to control it enough that like you have control of like all three of those perceptions, right?
Yeah.
It's the struggle, bro.
It's the struggle. I mean, the other way you can look at like this movie is that you could look at BB looks at Leave and wants to be her, and Leave looks at BB and wants to be her.
Sure, fuck yeah.
Because like maybe
the grass is always greener.
Yeah, Leave's like, I would crave a life where I'm out of the spotlight and I can just be anonymous and just be a nurse. Or
I could just be talking at some bitch on an island all day.
Yeah. Whereas like Alma BB is just like, I just because there's a couple things she says. She says like, oh, someone told me we look similar.
Yeah, that was weird. It was a little cringy.
That's weird, but that's also like, are you getting into fucking single white femaling and all that kind of stuff?
It's a good one as well.
I mean, that's another perspective you got to think about. Like, does full assimilation mean that like Leave didn't leave that island, only BB did?
Yo.
I'm just throwing out conspiracy theories at this point.
I dig it, man.
I mean, nothing I'm saying here is like I'm saying actually happened in the movie, but it's just deeper thought. And like, again, that's what the movie's asking, because like, are you looking in a mirror? Are you looking at your reflection? Are you looking at a different part of yourself? Those are all things that happen in this movie. I mean, you want to know why they show that fucking shot of like the camera crew shooting like Leave on the bed? That's a reflection of what you've been watching. And what you've been watching, is it real or is it just a fucking movie, or what does it matter?
I'm trying to remember how it like really closes out, right? Like she gets on that bus right after that shot, right? Like after the Leave on the bed shot, then she gets on the bus, and then does the credits just roll, or like
the credits just pretty much roll.
Like it goes back to the film projector, and the film comes off the projector, and then the lamp, they strike the lamp, and then
so just for people who don't understand like film projector terms, striking lamp means turning off the light. I mean, I would assume some of you would know that.
I guess you strike it when you turn it on. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just using strike as like when you like strike something off the stage or something, you know?
Well, when you strike lights, it means turn on or off. You know? All right, striking lights. Okay. Like when you do that for stages, you do it when you're on a film set. All right, striking, which means you're turning on lights. All right, striking when you're turning them off.
Cool, yeah.
So it's, it's a uniform work, but like you start with the projector starting and you end with the projector turning off. And that is your journey.
Yeah, man. So this is the part of the kind of French New Wave where, and I just saw my first Godard, but I know that some of his films, like it has a way of like it kind of tells you that you're watching a film, like and it, I just know about it. I haven't really seen a bunch of them to really.
It's like the thing about, like, at least with more Godard, is like he was very wanting you were watching creation of film. And speaking of things, when you get to it, My Life Lived, Vis a la Vie with Anna Karenina, like although it's not, obviously it doesn't deal with doppelganger stuff, it does deal with some kind. It's very devastating and
cool.
It kind of, I don't want to say it's not a sister movie, but like it'd probably be in your bag if you enjoy three women in this.
Okay, tight.
Just throwing it out there, but like it's this movie just, it can work on any level, and I think the other thing is just like the movie's fucking gorgeously shot.
True that. Was it Sven Nykvist?
Yes, and like it's just an absolute fucking masterclass of like using light. Because like they have like gas lamps or whatever is what they're,
those like sheer curtains where they're like walking through those curtains and shit. Like, man, that shit is so fucking cool.
Yeah, like it has the haze, and plus like when the sun's setting, you're losing actual light.
Yeah,
so it changes the dynamics. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many more notes you got, but I don't know where you've seen Persona pretty much like 4 times, pretty back to back to back to back.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, we've said a lot. We've basically said the whole goddamn plot, and I think we've pulled at it fairly well.
Yeah,
I'm sure I have some other things written down, but like
you're like, all right, I'll be back next week for Persona Part 2.
Yeah, Persona 2. That's my first film is going to be called Persona 2.
There you go.
It's not a sequel at all.
Not a sequel. I mean, just, do your own thing with it.
I'm not going to make a film, don't worry.
Well,
I'm not going to put out a record either, apparently.
Well, January you will. It'll be Giallo.
3rd and 10th. The single drops 3rd.
Oh, you actually...
the single drops on the 3rd, and the EP drops on the 10th. I'm sorry, the 15th.
Oh, wow. There you go. So, I mean, I don't know what else we can say, but any closing thoughts on Persona before we shut the door?
Go watch this shit. Yeah, dog. This goddamn movie rocks, man. This was made for me, dude. I'm gonna watch it many more times in my life. I'm gonna watch it at least once a year for the rest of my life. Yeah, dog.
There you go.
I'm glad we got to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, we've kept it pretty classy this month for October. We did Cemetery Man, which might be the most voidish, although Night of the Living Dead and Carnival Souls.
Yeah,
but they're also very artsy. Kind of leading in there, and eventually those Spine Numbers episodes will come out.
People have been on my ass about the Night of the Living Dead stuff, and that's fine. I
mean, why? Because you
I don't love it.
I mean, you don't have to love everything. I don't want to call out your friend who was talking about it, but didn't that person who was like busting your balls about Night of the Living Dead say they didn't like Halloween?
Yeah, but he was like, you should check out Messiah of Evil, Shout out Dan Owen.
Yeah, I mean, I told you to watch Messiah Evil in the fucking Carnival.
Oh, totally. But I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
he's got some egregious opinions.
I mean, well, I'm gonna say this about Night of the Living Dead or Halloween or even
and that's
Carnival.
fun,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like not as much as sometimes I'm like when I was busting Nikolai's balls about giving 2.5 stars to Carnival of Souls. Like, I can critically think and understand why someone would.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I can understand why you don't like Night of the Living Dead, just why I can understand why he doesn't like Halloween. Because, like, if a movie just doesn't lock in with you and you start seeing all the inherent flaws, the things that you can, like, look past or ignore or, like, don't matter to you because everything else works, that's why you love movies. And that's also why you don't love other stuff, Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I mean, there's obvious movies that are absolute piles of shit like Boondock Saints, but, like... this came up tonight, and it'd probably be highlighted more in Rewatch Listen when we talk about it. Not Boondock Saints, but the reason why I made that joke. It's specifically for one person. Shout out to Mike Thompson. He doesn't.
Lots of shout outs tonight. What's up, boy?
Does he even listen to the podcast?
I don't fucking. He doesn't listen to shit.
Fuck him anyway.
Fuck that motherfucker. I'm gonna send him a link.
It's like, yo, dog, we shouted you out. He's gonna be all happy, and then he gets there. And
shout out, Pinch. You're on like 10 episodes, bro.
Oh yes. Anyway, I think on that note, we will, have our faces meld. So half my face is Nick's, and half of Nick's face is mine, and we'll just end talking about Persona. But when we return, we will be in Read, Watch, and Listen here on the Cinematic Void Podcast.
In these words, the leading film critics of Europe have honored Ingmar Bergman's new film, Persona. Persona is a knowledge, a terrible knowledge of our loneliness, our estrangement, our inability to reach one another. It is a confession of our fears, of man, of failure, of death. Persona is the drama of a despair, a silence, a terror far too great to be named, of life laid bare to the bone. It is a drama of the skin sensitivity and of faces and words and ruthless courage. Persona is an illusion shattered, a victory over silence. The new film from Ingmar Bergman, Persona.
Welcome back. We are now striking the lamp for on the Cinematic Void podcast, where we talk about all the things we've been reading, watching, and or listening to since the last time we recorded a podcast. All right, Nick, what have you been reading, watching, and or listening to? I know it's been busy as of late.
In theory, I'm still reading Antkind, but I haven't really chipped away at that much lately. Real busy. We're going to get back into it soon. I'm going to be all settled. We'll be good to go. Watch. I just watched Persona. I just watched... I'm sorry. I just watched La Petite Soldat. It's my first Godard. I watched it at the Aero Theater on a 35mm. And I really liked it. I don't know that I loved it, but I really liked it. I absolutely love Anna Karina. She is an angel.
Yeah.
And there's some cool torture scenes. It was a double feature with Black Hawk Down or some shit.
No, it was Zero Dark 30.
It's the same fucking movie. Fuck. Same movie. Didn't stay for it.
There you go.
But I did take La Petite back across town, and then I projected it on the following Sunday. So it was a cool little cool.
Watch and project.
You know. Also recently rewatched Assholes, the Betsy Brown Peter Vac vehicle that I absolutely love. I showed it to my buddy Michael. I just been having some fucked up film nights with a few friends. Just watched Goodbye Uncle Tom with my buddy Ash from Boys Bible Study. We're just like Ash and I in particular are like just having like, let's show each other like the most fucked up movie we can think of nights. You know what I mean? So like what we're gonna watch like In a Glass Cage. We watched Cannibal Holocaust. You know what I mean? We're just going through the fucking list.
You're going through like Edgelord 101 kind of.
Yeah. And we're both pretty well versed in Edgelordism, But yeah, so you could probably talk a little bit about why that exists at all. As like those Mondo films or whatever. But we don't have to get into it.
I mean, real quick was like they were just they were pseudo documentaries, but like like a reality TV. There was some fake shit. Like the guys that made it, like they did some egregious fucking shit.
Yeah.
Mondo Kane actually got nominated for Oscar for Best Original Song.
No shit.
So it was legitimized at one point until they did like things like Africa Adito, aka
Goodbye Uncle Tom.
No, it's Africa Blood and Guts.
That's another. But are you talking about that's a different film altogether?
Different.
Oh, really?
It's about like apartheid in South Africa and like just.
Is it also in that same documentary style?
Oh, it is. Like
is this the same guys that made this?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, Goodbye Uncle Tom was their one time of like doing docudrama.
But you could, you can. Sorry to cut you off there, but like this film, it's not crazy that I watched it, and in some ways you could almost say it's not crazy that it exists. I mean, it is crazy that it exists, but I think that it has redeeming moments, and I think maybe what it was trying to do versus like how you may view it varies, right? But I think and they even really hammer it home at the end if you see particular versions, right? Like because there's a whole scene where like it's just like they just go kill a bunch of fucking white people. You know what I mean? There's like a kind of a redemption scene there.
For those of you who've not seen,
I guess we can explain what the hell I'm talking about, right?
So it's a very infamous like docudrama where I guess theoretically a group of Italian filmmakers take a time-traveling helicopter and go back to slavery in America, and they're documenting it and they're commenting on it. Now, if you see the Italian version, that is achieved pretty well. However, when you see the American dub version, it is one of the most offensive, weird, wild, fucking insane fucking movies ever.
Yeah.
They have a fucking slave owner who calls all the Italians macaroni. He's like, come here, macaroni, and shit like that.
I definitely did not see that version. Okay.
Would you watch in Italian?
I guess I have the Blue Underground Blu-ray DVD rather.
I used to have that Mondo Cane box set, which had all those in there, and there's two different versions of Goodbye Uncle Tom. There's the Italian version, and then there's the American version, which is the Goodbye Uncle Tom. I
guess I did. Yeah, I guess I did, but I don't remember Macaroni. I guess.
Yeah, like I mean, there's also things where the filmmaker like definitely has like.
But there's different endings, right?
I mean the ending where like the black preacher's on the beach looking at the white people reading the diary of Nat Turner, where he's having fantasies of fucking Black Panthers killing white people in there. I think that was always there.
Okay,
but
I think I somehow understood that maybe that was like a.
Nah, I mean, it's pretty damning on how fucked up America was with the slave.
And that's right. Like ultimately, like sure, it's exploitation, and sure, it's like if you. It's just like it's fucked up that it exists, but it is making a point of like just like look at America.
It's a lot of these movies, and this is even Cannibal Holocaust guilty. They're making a point about like how something's bad, and then they shot Goodbye Uncle Tom in Haiti, where they exploited everyone that was in that fucking movie.
True. Yeah.
But like that, a lot of those Mondo movies, they exploited people. But like this one was, obviously it can't be a real documentary.
There's like hundreds and hundreds of unpaid actors.
Oh, for sure. I mean, who knows? But like
just doing like the craziest shit.
I mean, maybe
portraying the craziest things that have happened in history.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking way too much about this movie. But
yeah. Anyway, just watch it. Moving on. Fuck, dude. Okay. Listen.
Oh, actually, fuck that. I'm going to add this point.
Please.
And I'm pretty sure I mentioned on the podcast before, years ago, Exhumed Film screened it with Cannibal Free Rocks on 35 millimeter at this weird little theater in New Jersey. It was like an old movie house. And like it was one of the most fucking like, holy shit, I can't believe this exists things.
Sure.
Like just mind-blowing. Like it's like it never left me because I was like, I can't believe this movie played any theater and the theater did not get burned down.
Sure.
Right after it played. I mean, Pauline Kael saw this, famous film critic, and that she picked it because I guess she thought she was gonna go like talk down about blaxploitation movies, thinking that's what this was. She saw this and she fucking like wrote the most scathing shit about it.
Sure.
And like basically had the movie forcibly thrown out of the theaters because of just how she's like, this is the most offensive thing ever made.
Yeah, cool.
So
I'm gonna find that and read it.
Yeah, read that. Like the history behind that movie is just insane, and we should probably do our own podcast on it, or maybe not.
Interesting. I think we just did, but
we'll
talk.
we did the Cliff Notes version of it.
Yeah,
and never mind. We didn't even get into the Ritz Ortolani score. That
fucking boy. Good. I mean, it's so good.
It's
what
so
the fuck?
It's so. I mean,
but it also it's the kind of the very Italian score where it kind of just takes the same theme and like kind of morphs it throughout, and it gets that same just little melody line stuck in your head. It's so fucking hard. Dude.
I mean, Riz did fucking Cannibal Holocaust too. Yeah. So, but that guitar line as it progresses in the movie gets more and more insane. And like I have the soundtrack. And like, there's like different versions of the cue, so you get the kind of subdued version, and then you get the fucking like
the full on
fucking wailing on that goddamn guitar. Like definitely, like that's the part where the Black Panthers are killing all the fucking honkies.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have definitely talked too much about this movie.
Too much.
Go to your listen.
So anyway, listen. Sorry, dog. So listen, I've been jamming on a bunch of Julian Cope stuff. Really been jamming the fucking Teardrop Explodes record, Kilimanjaro. It's fucking awesome. Julian Cope was one of the guys from Teardrop Explodes. They kind of like when they broke up, I forget who else they became. Like maybe it was like fucking Echo and the Bunnymen. And then Julian Cope did his own stuff, and there's one other fucking guy. I don't know, but like fucking 1981, I think it was, maybe 79 for that Kilimanjaro record, but also been listening to Julian Cope's Fried record and a few of his other things. That shit rules, and like some of the melody lines in some of those records, like Blur was like, oh, I'll take that. I'll use that for this fucking song, So that's where a lot of that kind of Brit pop sound comes from, but it's like, early 80s, like post-punk,
Yeah.
Fucking my homies from Baltimore have a band called Hover, and I've been listening to Hover EP a bunch. It's 8 songs, and it's like kind of noise rock, a little Deftones, but like they have like their own cohesive kind of sound, but like it's pulling from a couple different things, and I think they're fucking awesome, man. So I've been jamming that a bunch, and then the new Wayside record that's not out yet is fucking incredible. Of course, that's one of my favorite bands going right now from Australia. I love their last LP so much, and it was on repeat for fucking like 2 years straight. And this new one is no fucking slouch. Also been listening to the Beths, fucking Chapter House, fucking Ocean Blue. The fucking I think it's the 4th Ocean Blue record called C. Actually has a the cover of the record is from Persona. It's Leave when she's taking the photo. But yeah, just been getting down with some post-punk, fucking Morrissey, Public Image Limited. I've just been getting down. It's like, it's spooky season, but I'm not quite going like full goth. I'm just going like post-punk. Keeping it a little light.
Keeping it a little light. I mean, keeping it a little more dancier, keeping it a little more like angular, you know.
I'm not sad. I'm not spooky.
Yeah.
I'm chilling.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. How about you, man?
All right, for me, I'll start with Read, Kind by Charlie Kaufman, which we'll do our book club episode. However,
in a year when we finish this 800-page book,
I've got 100 pages into it.
Nice.
I've slacked on reading it, but I will be on an airplane very soon, and I will have 4 to 5 hours where I'm going to read. Although I think on my flight in, I'm going to sleep, or try to. But if I can't sleep, I'll read some more Kind. Got a bunch of different things. Did some virtual date nights with my girlfriend Leslie. We watched Spirit Halloween, the movie, on Shudder. Kind of cutesy. Christopher Lloyd, if we want to throw back to the Future, which we mentioned earlier, he's in it. He plays a mean ghost or something like.
Spirit Halloween, the
movie?
movie?
As in the fucking store. Like,
when did that come out? What the fuck is that?
It's like a kid's, like, it's like a Goosebumps or like Are You Afraid of the Dark type of thing.
Is it an anthology?
No, it's a bunch of kids that like sneak into a Spirit Halloween that's built on a fucking like grave of some old fuck.
Okay, cool.
I mean, we picked it because we wanted something light, and I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, cool.
It was 80 some minutes. It was kind of enjoyable.
I like it.
I mean, it's not the greatest thing in the world. Also watched Dosebo, which
was that a Beyond Fest title?
It was a Beyond Fest title, I believe. I missed it, watched it on Shudder. Holy shit, I like that one a lot.
Yeah, no shit. Okay, cool.
It's, it's a kind of a revenge story, and like weirdly there's maybe a little bit of Persona stuff in there, but not as overt or whatever.
Okay.
But it's basically about a fashion designer who's like, got this illness and can't shake it, and then a mysterious healer happens to show up to help her, and then there's some twists, there's some turns. I saw some Letterboxd reviews where people are like, well, it's too predictable. It's like, I don't really give a shit about predictability anymore. It doesn't need to be a goddamn M. Night Shyamalan movie. I don't need to be fucking like, oh shit, I got double-cross guessed or whatever, It's like, I just want to see solid filmmaking, and that's what this was.
Yeah.
Last one we actually did this last night. We watched Deadstream, which was another Beyond Fest title, which I missed. Basically about like a fucking Logan Paul like type dickhead YouTuber that like live streams in a haunted house. It definitely got a little Evil Dead 2-ish, but I think it was kind of to its detriment more to whatever. I mean, I'm kind of glad they went silly. There's some actually pretty good scares, but like I've seen people go like rave about it and people kind of shit on it. I think it's solid.
Yeah.
It's for a newer movie, it was enjoyable. Also on my own, I watched VHS 85, which surprisingly, sometimes I watch found footage movies and I fucking, it's not really my genre, but like, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what to watch, so I end up watching found footage movies, just hoping to find something as good as like Hell House LLC.
For sure. Wait, hang tight. So Glenn Danzig was talking during this movie because he knows the producers, and he just thinks he could just like talk during a movie in the middle of a fucking theater.
Yeah,
in the middle of a sold out theater when everyone else is being quiet and watching a film. He thinks that it's perfectly fine to have a conversation.
I mean, the thing you gotta realize about Glenn is that he doesn't know how to make a movie, let alone how to sit through a movie.
Yeah, dude, the other night I got really fucking high, and I just was laying in bed on my phone just researching his nose job that he got. And like, so apparently like during Sam Hain, like right before Danzig, like, dude, he used to have this fucking crazy nose. And if you look at all the old Misfits photos, like most of the time, like his hair's in his face, of course, right? Like,
Yeah.
but there's a few where it's like a sick ass photo from him, like on the side, like holding the microphone and singing. He's got a giant ass nose, dude. Now he looks like fucking Michael Jackson. He's got this tiny little baby nose. It's so funny. Like, and I never thought about it. Like, I always thought like Glenn looks like he got like a little. I mean, hey, I'm not trying to fucking body shame here, but he looks like he got a little fucking facial surgery. He's gotten some nips, some tucks, but his nose is fucking hacked off, dude. He's got this tiny little nose, dude. It's super sick. Look into it, dude. It's sick.
Oh man,
and he tries to like look like you can kind of like figure out that he's definitely hidden this. Like he tries to keep it a secret.
But photos don't lie. Your nose actually gets larger as you get older. It does not get smaller. Like, that's just not how it fucking works.
Sure.
I don't even know where to go. I guess I was going to talk about VH85.
Anyway,
VH85. The Scott Derrickson fucking bit, even though it wasn't probably because it was shot widescreen and everything else was like 133, like it was off of VHS. Despite its format being a slightly incorrect, I thought it was a hell of a sequence, hell of original.
Very cool.
Yeah, so there's some good ones. Like, it's an anthology. I think after rating each individual in the wraparound, I think it came out to be like a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd or something like that. I liked the idea of the wraparound, but I didn't feel like it landed in the end. And like, I don't know, but like for a VHS movie, I thought it was enjoyable. I know people really fucking love these, but like, for the most part, like, I just feel like, I think the best one was VHS 2, where the dude from The Rage directed one, which is fucking incredible.
Oh yeah, okay.
In that one, but like, I feel like what it is there's like one really great standout one, and then some solid ones, and then some ones that just aren't for me. I also rewatched Hell House LLC 2 and 3 because there's a new Hell House LLC coming out like later this month on Shudder. 2 and 3 both have some good scares. They're nowhere near as good as the first one because I feel like the mythology that, they kind of like came up with, like, it's not bad, but it's just like, I feel like it's sort of like, I'm going to use Halloween as an example. Do you really need to know more than what you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes like the first movie is the perfect movie. Whereas I think Halloween's a perfect movie. I don't mind Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, but it's unnecessary. I much prefer Halloween 3 because it's original take. But I think the guy made it, like, the new Hell House movie actually looks pretty good because, like, Hell House doesn't exist anymore. Spoiler, sorry. But, like, basically someone's brought some artifacts to, like, a new location, so that's kind of how it works. So, kind of curious. I'll definitely check it out. I expect some good scares, but, like, I'm kind of hoping, like, they kind of the iron strikes hot again and, like, make another sick fucking solid, like, found footage movie.
Totally.
And the last thing I watched, because it is Halloween season, and there is a really good sequence in this movie that takes place on Halloween, which is We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lynn Ramsey, fucking top 5 dead or alive going right now filmmaker. I've seen a lot of people are polarized by her films, but I think she's fucking absolutely incredible. And this movie's no exception. I had forgotten that Ezra Miller is Kevin. And that movie plays a hell of a lot different. Holy fucking shit, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God, did they just become Kevin? Is that what happened in their life? They're like, well, I never got over this role, so that's who I'm going to be from here on out. I mean, maybe that's reading a little too much in it, but like the movie's fucking just insanely good.
Totally.
And I was like, I had an itch to watch it. I've always been mean to pick up the Blu-ray, and it's like, I'll eventually get it. But then I was like, oh, on Tubi.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tubi, the people's champ of fucking streaming services. And I was like, gonna rewatch some We Need to Talk About Kevin. Listen, because we went to the show, been listening to Teenage Wrist, which is Still Love, Heavenward, Pyrophonics, or is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Pyrophonics, yeah. Spiritual Cramp, self-titled. They only have a few tracks available right now.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good. I listened to some of the older stuff, and it didn't really grab me in the same way. I think production. I think this production is kind of like nice.
Right on.
Definitely reminds me of like some post-punk stuff, like in a weird way. I hate to say like the Killers, but like good Killers tracks, but like maybe I don't know. There's definitely some Gang of Four and Wipers and things like that floating in there. You sent me this the Ambleside record, Contact High.
Oh yeah,
that shit's a fucking banger.
Sounds like Basement.
Yeah, it sounds like Basement. Church Girls have an EP called Nightmare Nights. Has one of my favorite songs from last year. The fucking I Hate This House song.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't love that remix thing they stuck on in the end.
Oh yeah, I didn't get to the remix, but yeah, the Church Girls songs that I really like, I really like.
Yeah.
Like I just listen to over and over.
I mean the remix. I mean this whole EP is pretty solid.
Yeah.
The remix.
Yeah, it's great.
I just listen to the remix and like it's not really my
that fucking Telepathic Mind song, dude. I've listened to that song fucking 200 times.
I mean it's fucking solid.
Yeah.
Koyo, the new record, Would You Miss It? Or is it called Would You Miss It?
Mm-hmm.
I was just making sure I didn't type something wrong.
No,
but
no.
Fucking, it's gonna be up there for album of the year.
It's up there, dog.
It's a fucking scorcher of your poppy hardcore, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's just hardcore, but like it definitely has a pop punk sensibility.
Yeah.
Got a lot of guests popping up. I mean, it's fucking great. And I was, they were. I think the night we saw them, I think they were the best band we saw.
Yeah.
When they play with No Pressure. You might think No Pressure.
I mean, I love No Pressure, but damn, Koyo fucking rules, dude.
I'm ready to see him again.
Hell yeah.
West Side Gun, since we're kind of harkening back to the early days of the podcast, dropped a new record, and then You Pray For Me. I think it's good. There's some tracks I don't like. There's some tracks I think are really good. It's got some good features on it. Been giving it a little bit of a spin. And because you didn't mention it, E-Town Concrete's got a new song.
Hell yeah, Level Up.
The fucking cover is like the most ridiculous thing, but it looks exactly like a E-Town Concrete record that came out in like 1996, 97 or whatever.
Hell yeah.
I mean, the song sounds like an E-Town Concrete song that came out in 96, 97.
He's got like he throws a couple little things in his flow though that's like new,
Yeah.
It's real sick.
Actually, the one thing I'm going to say, like rapping wise, he's way improved from those early E-Town records.
Yeah.
Like I guess he's been honing his craft. And like the heavy stuff is heavy. Like the scream's a little different when he does the yell. It's not as like deep or punchy, I should say. But he's also, how old is he? Like in his 50s now.
He's got to be 50.
Yeah, it's like he's not Corpse Grinder or something like that. He's got to like maintain it. It's like he's just got to be able to rap and hit some like heavier notes.
He's rapping his ass off. He sounds great. The fucking words are great.
So that's going to wrap up our spooky season here on the Cinematic Void podcast. A couple things I want to shout out. Hope you guys have been enjoying the Cinematis movie. For those of you who have been watching, we should be wrapping up. By the time this episode comes out, it should be one episode left, if I could get my words out correctly.
Yeah.
It's going to be a double feature, so check that out. People seem to be enjoying the movies that have played thus far, so, this is one of my favorite seasons. I mean, how's your spooky season been as we wrap this up?
It's good, man. It's good. I'm not really doing anything for Halloween. I'm just trying to I'm chilling. Is this the last episode going into November?
Yep. And again, as we mentioned at the head of this podcast, this is the last one at the old studio, so to speak. So we recorded the first episode here, and there's a time where we did some Zoom shit, but like you were recording here when we did that. So yeah, outside of the film program episodes, like pretty much the majority of everything was filmed. It was recorded here. We're not filming. We're not that fancy of a podcast yet. So next time you hear a brand new episode, it will be at the new space, which I know you're stoked for.
I'm very stoked for it, man. It's gonna be good, dude.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good.
But anyway, I hope you guys have a nice Halloween, and then until next time, see you in the void.
Some people even think it's fun to smash pumpkins. Oh no, that's not fun. Not for all the people who work so hard carving pumpkins, and especially not for us pumpkins.